Southeast Asian countries share common technique in fabric production and design, but they vary on the symbolisms and meanings of their work. Each country has been adaptive to any means of producing their fabric, yet somehow include unique elements that they consider their own. One of the most famous and common fabric in Southeast Asia is silk. Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam are the pioneering countries which produce high quality silk even until today. Silk is fabricated from the cocoon of silkworms. They raise the silkworms and undergo a balanced diet of mulberry leaves. This process of silk production is called sericulture. Today, Thai silk making is one of the finest arts in the world, a product of a unique manufacturing process and bearing unique patterns and colors. To have further knowledge about silk production, here is a video on the making of Thai silk in Thailand.
The production of silk all begins with the silkworms munching away on mulberry leaves. Once they have gotten nice and fat and have molted 4 times, they begin to spin their silk cocoons. Some cocoons are chosen for the silk making process. They are boiled to allow the threads to unravel from the cocoons, and then the threads are spun together into a larger thread which can be used for the weaving. Before weaving, the silk is dyed, sometimes using natural processes and sometimes using synthetic processes. Once enough thread has been made and dyed to the desired color, it is strung up onto a loom and woven into a bolt of fabric. Traditional designs are still done by hand. While simple solid colors are a much quicker process.
In Cambodia, silk weaving dates to as early as the 1st century since textiles were used for trading. Cotton textiles have also played a significant role in Cambodian cultures. Rural women often weave homemade cotton fabric which is used in garments and for household purposes. These example products in silk are the following. First, Pidan, as their pictorial tapestries, and second as their samput, or their wrap-around skirt. For cotton textiles, it is mainly used as their traditional scarf, known as krama. Another unique and captivating silk fabric is also produced in Vietnam, because they use golden thread silks to give emphasis to the aesthetic value of the silk. Out from these fabrics, the most famous and well-known technique in fabric printing is called batik. This process is most common in Indonesia, Malaysia, Brunei, and Singapore. The term batik is an Indonesian Malay word believed to be related to the Malay word titik, which means point, dot, or drop. The drop action refers to the process of dyeing the fabric by making use of a resist technique. Resist technique covers the area of the cloth with a dye-resistant substance, usually hot wax, to prevent them from absorbing colors. This technique is having been taught for over 1,000 years. There are two categories of batik designs. We have free-form designs and geometric designs or motifs. Free-form designs are irregular and asymmetrical shape or form, while geometric motifs are patterns or designs depicting abstract or non-representational shapes such as lines, circles, triangles, and such. In Malaysia, they use leaves and flowers as incorporated designs with their batik. It is to avoid the interpretation of human and animal images as idolatry in accordance with local Islamic culture. These designs or patterns may look similar with Indonesian batik. However, Malaysian batik is famous for its geometrical designs or spirals. Their patterns are larger and simpler also, and more brush painting is applied to be able to put lighter and more vibrant colors than deep-colored Javanese batik. In Brunei, they incorporate their national flower called simpur, sumbuy sumbuy, or pitcher plant, and their traditional design of air mule. Air mule is a flower pattern design that symbolizes the country's gentle and courteous character. There are two main types of batik according to its process. First, we have hand painted, and second, we have black printed. Hand painted designs uses canting. It is a small copper container with one or more different sized pipes, while black printed process uses welded strips of metal which forms a metal block. This metal block is then dipped into molten wax and pressed against the fabric to make a pattern. In modern designs, it depends on the creativity of the designers. Naturalistic motifs like leaves, flowers, and birds have been utilized to create elaborate and intricate designs. Modern designs also include more colors courtesy of chemical dyes, and artists are not bound by the strict guidelines and traditional practices when craftsmen were dependent on natural dyes. Here is an example video on how batik evolved in modern days today.
Batik tells a story, like no other textiles, about the history of an island people and their beliefs. From early influences of Hinduism and Islamic trade to a demand for the brightly colored florals highly prized by Europeans. Batik has made its way from the Sultan's Palace in Yogyakarta to village communities across Java, where highly skilled artisans produce batik for a range of buyers and tastes. For centuries, Javanese batik has been made the same way, by drawing or stamping wax on cloth and then dyeing the cloth, once or by repeatedly holding and releasing areas of color with wax, until it is finally boiled out, thus revealing the skill and effort of the makers of the cloth. Batik makers often use imported synthetic dye. However, in Java, more and more artisans are returning to traditional methods by producing batik with natural dyes from plants that grow abundantly in the wet tropical soil. Artisans such as Abdul celebrate their Arabic roots in their dotted batik work, thus embracing early traditional patterns and symbolism once reserved for the Sultan's court. Others, such as Nuri, combine their love for batik and Japanese shibori tie and dye by crafting Asian-inspired fabrics and wearable art that boast soft colors and patterns appealing to contemporary tastes. Collectives, such as a group of artisans at Kebun Indah in central Java, are making naturally dyed batik with designs inspired by local plants and historical sites. While installation artists Ismoyo and Naya collaborate to produce batik exhibitions, exploring the translucence of wax and the language of stitch in a spiritual way. From the workshops of central Java to the cloud patterns of coastal Cirebon, Batik of Java, a visual journey, brings the process and the story of batik to life.